Hi everyone. Okay, sorry for the delay in this tutorial, but this video is going to essentially focus around the idea of creating a video that uses both video and audio from say a phone or a camera. But the audio is generated by the video, so it's almost like using video and audio samples from the same source to create something that is musical to a degree and interesting to watch. This is partly a bit of an exercise in creating something, and quite an easy way to create something if you haven't got many resources to hand. You don't necessarily, you just want to get into creating a video. It could stand alone its own sort of music video, I suppose, in a sense, but essentially it's a good way for me to go through all the different or many different sort of ways of creating video. We'll cover a lot of topics in Premiere. Won't cover them all, but the way to best learn a piece of software is just try and have an idea in mind and push it and explore and not be afraid to break it. So this video will do as much as I can. I'm going to try and keep it around half an hour. If it's 45 minutes, fine. I will make sure it doesn't go over that. Otherwise it'll just become a really boring, endless thing. So I'll try and not chat and blather on too much, exactly like I am now. So let's get started. Open up Premiere. If you don't have Premiere, the same ideas and concepts will apply to pretty much any other editing software out there. Be that iMovie, Premiere Rushes to a degree, Final Cut Pro. There's a few other things out there as well. I'll put a list of alternatives to Premiere in Moodle in a big nice list somewhere, or maybe in the bottom of this video as well on YouTube. That sound in the background is the sound of my laptop fan just sort of deciding to take off. Anyway, I'm going to start with a new project. I'm going to call this, I think within the audiovisual module, if that's where you're getting to this from, we've labeled this under AC. Capella sample video. So it's a bad title, but it'll do. And I'm going to put this, as with all the projects, when starting projects, make sure you know where it's going, make sure it's where you can find it again, not just on your desktop in some random place or wherever Adobe decides it thinks you want to put it, which is either in a random Adobe folder or it's the last place that you've done some work. That's not right. That's wrong. Module. There we go. Week 7. I'll put it in there. Choose. Right. Exemplify the video player. No. Okay. Wait for that to beach ball itself. Wake up. In the meantime, over here, I've got a number of clips. Whoa, laptop's taking off now. I've got a number of clips that I've. Whoop. Oh, God. Number of clips that I've plopped in from my Photos app, or just literally off my phone. So if you don't know how to get photos off your phone, different computers and things vary, but on Macs, the easiest way I found is open up a bit of software called Image Capture, plug your phone in, pops up there. I haven't got my phone in plugged now, but pops up there. You just literally select the photos you want, drag them into Finder. Okay. On Windows these days, I'm not sure, I'm afraid, but you should know. Okay, so I've got a load of videos there. I'm in Premiere. Let me just make this screen. Various ways to import your video, either click and drag from Finder, or the more official way is import or Command I, and I'll click a load of these. Pop. There's a big bunch of them. I won't use them all, and I'll be selecting small elements out of each of them. So before we start, I like to get a timeline sequence running. Now a timeline will appear if you just click and drag a video into there, but it will be set to whatever the dimensions and the ratio, and if it's vertical or horizontal, that will be your timeline. If you want a bit more control over it, which I highly recommend, so I'm going to go to File, New, Sequence. We want Full HD for this, I think, 1080p. If your phone does do 4K, knock yourself out, but it's possible your computer will not handle that. It's possible it won't really like 1080p, to be honest, in which case go for 720, which is standard HD for television broadcasts. But 1080p is a good, happy medium. Those different presets here, they're all much of a muchness. As long as you go for a 1080p, I think you'll be alright. And you want to make sure, if you follow my cursor, it's 1080p, so it's 1920 pixels across, 1080 pixels high, 25 frames a second. You can choose 30 frames or 24 if you like. For this, I'm going to keep it to 25. That's a general rule I like to keep. 24 for a general video is what I'd go for, as that would feel a little more cinematic, but 25's I quite like the maths behind it for whatever reason. I'm terrible at maths, so you want to make sure it's square pixels, okay, whatever you're using. Some of these will be anamorphic, and that'll just might complicate things when you try and export later on. So give a sequence of names, call this sample video. So within a project you have sequence, you can have a number of different timelines, you could chop and change and things, but your overall project is what we named it earlier. So over here I've got my project, and I'm going to start going through some of these and pick out some of the videos I think might be useful. So a lot of these have been taken under lockdown, some are just beforehand, so unfortunately it's just me mainly looking after my daughter who's 3 years old. So that's what I've mostly been doing. So okay, I quite like that. Wow, wow, wow. So I've double clicked on this and brought it up here rather than dragging it into there, because it means we can select an in point and an out point, choose exactly the elements we want, plop them in here. I don't want to have my daughter's face necessarily in view, but I can always probably zoom in over that anyway. So I press I to create an in point, and O creates an out point. If I click and drag that, it will bring over the video and the audio. If I select just this, like film strip, that'll just be the video. That's just audio, as you can see with the pop-up thing there. Right, and I click the whole thing over, drop it in. Keep the existing. This is what I meant before. If you drag in a video from over here into there, it does it for it. So no, I'm going to keep the settings. And it might mean the video you bring in is either too big, too small, but then you've got options to move that around. In this case, I'm going to crop it in a little bit. Actually, I'll come to that later. So I'm just going to might just sort of put in the content I want in here first. Then we'll start playing with it, I think. Let's see what this is. Not very exciting for this. We want to make a little bit of music. Cool. That's a nice bit of percussion there. In, out. Put you maybe. Just going to lay these in here randomly at the moment, and I'll make something more of it in a minute. This is taken in a cache converter just before lockdown. It might have some interesting audio, and it's quite a cool picture of itchy and scratchy data mashed up. Any other ones? No. Okay. Let's grab a little bit. It's a sort of non-legible sample. And bring that in. Sorry, this is taking a bit long. It's a car wash, not much sound in there. Washing machine. Cool. That's a fire alarm, and that was taken slow-mo video. So the audio on that just sounds like a weird church bell. I quite like that. I'm going to drag the whole thing on. That might make the bass of it actually. My COVID-y Home Alone track. No audio there. Got to lose my daughter. Sorry about this. Quite like that. Being a bit arbitrary. Remember, as this is non-linear software, you can just go in, start clicking, dragging, moving the edge, making them bigger and smaller anyway. But this is, helps you find a good place to start. I thought I'd hear more bird song in there, not just... Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be a long video, but I'm going to hopefully show you quite a few techniques within it. In, out, right. So I promise I won't be much longer. I apologise if you don't like children, this is going to be a bit painful though. Okay, let's call it there. Right. And I might see if I've got any other clips somewhere I can just drag in for the hell of it. So the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to start with some kind of long-running bass element, I want to call it. Whatever that, or just sort of almost like a thing. So I'm going to bring a little introduction to it, I think. So I'm going to find my... if you double click your clip here, it'll pop up there as well, so you can just sort of check which one it is. I'm going to bring this over here. Right, I've brought this up to video 3, so I'll make sure the audio comes down to audio 3 as well. I'll show you what this sort of means in a minute when we start copying and pasting. It'll become quite apparent. So, I'm going to zoom in here. And you've got to zoom in, I think, by pressing plus and minus, and it'll focus to wherever your playhead is. So I'm going to bring it to here, zoom in. I'm going to start in a couple of... Actually, I can give it a title as well. We can cover lots of bases. That'll probably be enough. Right. Actually, I'll bring it a bit fronting and then we'll deal with it later. I'm keeping an eye on the time, and we are... Okay. Right. I think if I loop that, it'll just sound a bit weird and disconcerting. That might be quite cool. I'm going to bring this actually down to video 1, because I like to treat video 1 as my sort of base layer and build up and up and up. A lot of these ideas, obviously, you work with music sequencing software all the time. This isn't a tool for music sequencing, so whereas you'd normally be looking at sort of beats per minute and working out how many beats the bar you're working with, here that doesn't apply. It's all frames per second, and you can't quite get the accuracy. You won't be able to get the time signatures or anything like that running as well as you want. So you kind of just have to give this a go. It's a very rough and ready way of creating a video, but you might end up with some interesting results, so that would be pretty cool. Just remember, I've got another load of cool clips in here, which I'll probably start... I might bring them in now. I'm going to quickly bring that in. Yeah, no. I just quite like that planet actually, or BBC logo. Right. So, I'm going to copy and paste this little clip. I'll show you how to do that. So now, Just an example if I did that. Right, copy. If I move my player here to the end, if you hold down shift as well, it should snap to the end of there. Snapping as well should also be working. Oh, I can't see on my... Sorry, get distracted because I should see more tools here. Just going to check what workspace I'm in. All panels, okay. Tools. Okay, well, normally you'd see a little magnet. Oh, there it is. Oh, God. Press S, it appears and disappears, or you can just click it, obviously. When it's on, it just means it snaps to different markers or clips or whatever. Kind of makes life a bit easier, but sometimes it can be get in the way, so you might want to unclick it. For now, leave it snapped. It's just a quick and easy way. But holding down shift sort of increases that control or lack of control in a weird way. Right, and a copy. Command C, obviously, and V. What's going on? Let's paste it up there. Reason being, over here, in this column, whatever's highlighted is kind of where the target area is. So if I put that down to V1 and oh god, delete that. So I'm going to copy that again, move it over, paste it. Oh no, it'll land there. That's useful if you've already got elements in that layer and you want to copy and paste to the top layer, and instead it's overwriting layers. And why is it doing that? That's why. So just you can change these target layers around. Leave them highlighted for now. See what that does. You can also obviously just move them around anyway. It's no big deal. Right, and paste that again. So let's see what that does. Now I'm going to jump into the main bit of the track. By the way, I'm not really a musician, so there's going to be no real musicality to this. It's more about a noise experiment, which is, you know, absolutely acceptable if that's the route you want to take as well. Just play with the sounds. Don't worry about trying to make a masterpiece with this, because you just won't. Okay, that's interesting. Video brought over there was what's this slower frame rate. Over here it's sped it up again. Oh, it's fast, slower frame rate, sped it up again. So I'm just going to show you how to change how the frame rate gets seen in the timeline. So if you've shot some slow motion video on your smartphone or a camera, it'll usually shoot it around 60 frames per second, for instance. 50 frames, 60 frames, might be 120, might be 240, depending on how fancy your phone is. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. I think it's a cold. And so what you do when you bring it to timeline, you need to sort of change the way those frame rates are seen to bring it down, to still keep it at slow motion. Okay, so the faster the frame rate, the faster your video, the slower the frame rate, the slower it is. So if you shoot a high frame rate, bring it in, reduce the frame rate by half, it will be half the speed. Does that make sense? If I go to modify, interpret footage, we get a little thing about the clip we've selected. Now, it says use this frame rate from 30 frames a second. Is that the same one I picked earlier? That's annoying. Alright, in that case, so what you can do anyway, I'll show you anyway, but I'm not going to do it now. If you want to change the frame rate here, bring it in. Interpret footage. I was expecting that to say 60 frames a second, and let's use the frame rate as 24 frames a second. However, it isn't. So in this case, I am literally going to just go to speed duration. I'm going to break it down by half speed. Now, normally I'd keep maintain audio pitch. In this instance, obviously I don't want to. That's the element I want to bring down. So let's see if that's helped. I'll make it a bit slower, I think. So again, a lot of time when you're doing speed duration things, it can be a bit of trial and error. That's even too fast. Let's go just for 10 frames. Cool. So, I want to bring that in just as that bong starts. Sort of kick the track off, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And that's my sort of point. If you want to sort of move that along frame by frame, left and right arrows, and you can see in the audio levels there, that'll be fine. If you just want to cut that, you can either click and drag that to that point, or press C or razor tool and chop, and then just discard that, bring that over to here. That should just jump in a bit more ominous way. Cool. So that's going to keep a kind of time pace. I quite like where that appeared. I might see if I can just make that appear the same sort of point every time. Not sure, no, just cut that. Move that up. Right, so I'm gonna so that's coming at, let's move that to about halfway in there. 4.5. So it finishes about half, so it'll be 2, 3, 4. Copy, paste, what's that done? Let's just dropped it right in there. Okay, rubbish. Cool. Where's the audio? Ugh. Sorry, can you see what I'm doing here? So I'm making sure that the first target element is the audio layer, the video layer. So just copy and pasting. So what I want to be able to do, I was hoping I could and drag those would. Let's do that. What I'm going to do is bring that to this there. Sorry, this is not how you want to best be doing this. Right. So now I've done that twice. I'm going to copy and paste both of those. Fortunately, there's no sort of quick and easier way to do this. I'm going to kind of just wing this. So let's see how that goes. I'm going to try and, right, this is how long this is going to be. I'll make it 30 seconds. Okay. And then bring that on again. Right. Where's the audio back on? So it's not a good masterclass, is it? Oop. Let's bring that again. So I'm click and drag this up to here. That's all we done. My computer is being a bit funky. I think I upset it the other night by trying to do. That's probably what's going on. Doing a Twitch stream the other night. I think I broke it. It's too much to handle. That's the slow bit there. Sod it. Right. That's probably where I'll chop the end of the video off actually. So I'm going to cut this here. Ready? Great. So let's show you the other bits in, and then I'll start adding effects. We'll look at sort of affecting different things, doing some fun stuff, a bit of animation, and our job will be done here. Hopefully. Right, let's see if we pop that in. So this is a point where I'm just like, I can't quite get this where I want it. It just keeps snapping. I'm going to turn snapping off. I can just go, that's where I want it. Let's see how that looks. Ah, this is going to be so disturbing, isn't it? Something really creepy about little children. Oh, she's my daughter, I shouldn't really say that. It'll tend as well. If you don't want to copy and paste, as on most software, press Alt and just click and drag, let go, and it will duplicate whatever sort of element or clip in this case that you're using. Right. I am just throwing this together, obviously, just for the sake of it. I'm trying to work out why. That's not showing. That's never happened before. I do think I probably need to reset all my settings on this. I had a very frantic project recently where I was just in at Premiere and all sorts of things got mashed up, I think. Anyway, I'm not worrying about it too much about it now. So I've duplicated those. What's this? Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to bring the snapping back on just because I don't want to zoom in all the time and be too... Right. Snap it in there. Bring that to there. Now what I'm going to do with the underlying bells, so I'm going to make this element slowly get bigger and bigger, so by the end of the clip it's full screen. So maybe start it smaller. To do that, click, just single click, double click if you want, really makes a difference. No, single click. If that's over here, you'll see these little double arrows. You can choose what you're looking at. We want to look at effect controls. Normally if you just click a thing and it can then show up. So double click or make it appear in that viewer. So I'll click that. And you've got lots of little sort of basic animation elements here. A lot of them follow the same idea and rules as you'd be animating in After Effects. In terms of using keyframes anyway. So we'll look at keyframes now. This is also if you add other effects from over here. If your can't see your effects here, just go to Window, Workspaces, find Effects, or go to All Panels. They'll all appear here. So we'll have a look at a bit of colouring, we'll add effects, and we'll look at some animation, okay? Yes, that's okay. Cool. So start with scale, 100% at the moment. It's obviously a smaller file than, I think I saved that for some other reason. So I'm going to make this a bit smaller. We're going to zoom it in. 6%. I don't know, 10, doesn't really matter. Now, if you click on this little stopwatch, yep, that's a stopwatch, you'll see it's a kind of a little diamond. It's chopped off there because we're right at the edge of the thing. And basically, if I change the scale at any point, a new diamond just appears. This is called a keyframe. And now it's animated between those two keyframes. That's quite handy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out to here and go to the end of the video, my timeline. If you can see whether I move the timeline here, there's a timeline up here. Cue point thing. So I'm right in that. I'm going to just bring this keyframe over to here, and I might just bring that up all the way so I can see the whole thing. Now I'd like to be able to see just the bell. So I'm going to also add a position marker as well, but I can do that just as it fills up the screen. So I'll show you what I mean. So once it gets about here, I might start zooming in. So I'm going to choose, yep, this is the position I want to start animating from. Boop. There's my little diamond. Bring that over to there. And at this point, I'm just going to hide that there so I can see what's going on. I want to have that bell in the middle. Now, there's two ways to do position. You can either wiggle these little numbers around, which is that's just worked magically, or you can just double click the video layer, and usually that will do the job. Let's just see what that's like. It might be a bit too quick. Actually, I might. Yeah, don't make it. That'll be fine. Cool. Now, bring that layer back. What I'd quite like to do with this clip is probably also make it. What I might do is bring another video in the background and make a bit of, sort of a border thing. Might be the Itchy and Scratchy actually. Might be quite fun. Do that later there. So I'm going to make this clip a bit smaller. Generally, just hover there. Now the problem with that is it's a bit long, isn't it? It looks a bit weird. So I might want to crop. Now this is how you find a crop. Go to Effects, Transform Crop. Literally drag an effect onto your clip, and it will appear over here. If you can't see that, remember, just click on your clip. Ooh, effect controls. If you can't see effect controls, it's in here. Yeah, crop. So I want to bring in the bottom basically. Woo! There we go. And I want to actually now bring that. Can I bring the position there? No, I quite like the way it's awkwardly placed there, to be honest. Now, hopefully, if I copy, obviously I might. Oh, didn't mean to do that. My other ones like that aren't the same, so I'll need to copy both the scale and the crop to make sure I can copy that. Let's just check that works. So I'm going to copy, crop from there, paste it in there. I think that's worked. I need to check the scale. This is where it doesn't work. I just assume it does because it works in different stuff. Right, so 53%. Let's make it 50%. That's annoying, so we'll have to do it every time. There probably is a way around it. Apologies, I don't know off the top of my head. It's cropped it though. Yeah. Okay, so it must copy effects, but not the basic motion controls, which seems a bit silly. So I'm going to copy that crop. And I'm going to paste it to both of those. Hopefully that's applied to both, we'll see now. Yeah, it did, cool. Okay, so there's some little thing to all these now. I'm just going to run through that quickly, and once I get to add an effect or something, then we'll have a look at it. Let's look at blend modes today. So this one, for instance, I'm just going to change the scale of that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to spin it round. So, again, this is looking at some of these, just to get you an idea of how simple it is, just a bit of animation. So, I'm going to bring in that clip, this one here, sure it's the right one, yep. If you want to check, you can do that. I can just rotate it around, so now click keyframe, and by the end of that I want it to spin around a complete sort of uniform, click back in, a complete rotation, so that's 360 degrees. So now okay. Cool. Now I'm just going to copy that. Oh, I can't copy it. Right. Oh, maybe I can copy the keyframes. Sorry, this is not the time and place to be. See, I have to do something. What's that? Sorry, I've been using After Effects, and in that I could just copy and paste a lot of these things, and it'd be really annoying. Why Adobe doesn't just bring everything through to all their software is beyond me. It's not like they don't have lots of subscribers. Scale 50, let's bring it at 50 anyway, shall we? Make everything 50. This one just 50. I do apologise, it's a very dull video, but I'm having fun. Honest. Right, boom. Boom. Rotation. Pump. Spin to 360. Okay, slowly we're getting there. Right, one more layer and I'll do some blend modes, another effect, and then add some titles. We'll look at colouring a little bit. Now, I'm going to work out why. That's there, okay. Why is that just voiceover? That's good. Sorry, this isn't very good, is it? Let's delete those tracks, they're just annoying me. Oh no. Just gonna right click and see it with miners. I don't want to voiceover enable things here. Sorry, right. Well, we can just bring this up to here because essentially we don't need to layer it. So it's coming in straight after. So change make edits here, and I might just copy the whole lot to the next point. Then we're not sort of going back and forth. A bit tedious for everybody involved. Right, what should we do with this? I'm going to let's bring the scale in 50%, like all the others, and excuse me, very noisy, sniffy. I do apologize if I end up making other noises as well. Let's add an effect in, so let's just find something nutty. Let's make sure we don't try searching. Right, this finds me a bit odd. Yeah, let's go for just something in distort, just to have a play. Oh, magnify, no. Sorry. Let's wave warp. Boom! Okay, so drop a thing in, and you can usually see like the basic bit of an effect. If you can't see anything, scroll down to where the effects are and just sort of have a play around it. So let's just mash that up. So I'm going to start with, at the beginning, let's just keep everything sort of 0. So nothing's happening. I am create keyframes for those and copy those keyframes. If I copy it into the end of the clip, that. Copy, so go to the end of the clip, I've got more control doing it here, and paste them in. Copy, paste, there we go. Now in the middle of that, I think we'll go mental. So let's just go wah, and then boom. Now what should happen is it'll animate it out, so it might be a bit slow when it's not rendered, but that was suitably cheesy. Okay, I'll do a similar thing for this, I reckon. Let's just see how that sounds. I've got a few of those, haven't we? Let me show the effects for all the kid ones. Sorry, just because, you know, internet. Right, let's copy. I'm going to Alt and drag that to there. Get rid of that one. So now I should. Okay, cool. What we'll do for the bike ones actually is we'll show you about blend modes. So I don't know if you know in Photoshop and a lot of just phone app image editing software now, you'll probably encounter blend modes. And these just affect how layers look above other layers. So effectively we've got layers here, and in Photoshop we've got layers. So here, blend mode is normal, as it is, but then if you start having a look around at what these different ones do, you'll see they have all slightly different looks and effects. Some of them are a bit cheesy, but you will find them very useful at times. So it's worth just knowing they exist. I'm just going to do that. It's suitably awful. Excuse me, I don't need to keep sniffing. Copy that. I think so. If you hard mix. Yeah, it's terrible. And that one as well. Is that the last one? Hard mix. Cool. Now, oh yeah, is that? I haven't got time. Shame. Oh, let's quickly just throw something. Sorry, people. You must be like, oh my god, kill me now. Right. Thalma. I've got a bit of space to throw one of these into there, I think. So. Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to win any awards, is it? Okay, bump to there, so quite tight. As soon as we just add a layer thing. Quite like that. And I think, yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to copy that over here. So hopefully that's kind of given you a bit of an idea about how. What was that? Oh, see, this is where I sort of my rough moving of things around isn't paid off, but oh. What I might do is move right and suss it. I'm more to the middle. This is such an approximation. Obviously, I'm not keeping this in any way musical, really. It's okay. That'll do. I'm just going to tidy up the end, as in, if you want to put snapping on, you'll have a bit more acuteness. Zoom in if you need to. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Last little thing I look at then is looking at grading, very briefly, colouring, just so you know where they all live, and there's video transitions as well. I'll throw in those in now, so I mentioned it. So basically, if you want to zoom in, say beginning, I don't like to zoom normally. Zoom in. God, too many conferences. If you want to fade in, I don't. I like to do lots of harsh cuts usually, but sometimes it's necessary and relevant. Basic sort of cross dissolve or dip to black, but to white will can be added. If whatever's highlighted here, that's kind of the default thing. So you're going to click and drag a transition in. Obviously, any of these transitions you have a play around and see what they do. Right click here, go apply default transitions, and that's the default. So it's a cross dissolve. If for whatever reason you think, oh god, that's a bit of a long cross dissolve, you can always go in and speed that up, slow it down. It also affects the audio as well, so don't forget that. That's enough. Right. Colours. So Lumetri colour. Lumetri is just, it's called Lumetri because I think it was a grading plugin that Adobe bought, and now it's in everything. So you can add colour to, if you look at a clip, you can see the things. So normally you can sort of colour correct everything that way, individual clips, and that's fine. The other way that, if everything sort of is still shot on the same camera, looks right, you just want to add a sort of a look to everything, then the way I like to do it is, if I can sit down here, right down here, there's these little icons, there's new items, more down here, it's a bin and everything. New item, click on that, you want an adjustment layer. Adjustment layer, bring you, I didn't bring my planet in, next time. Bring it to the top, zoom it out, boom. Now this is like almost like a bit of cellophane, it's like a see-through transparent layer that you can add things to. So you're going to effects to that, and it will affect everything else beneath it. So I'm just going to do it for colour. So there's always different elements that you can change the exposure. Oh no, just done it to that. Click, select the layer you're using as well, otherwise it's all going to go wrong. So that does everything. So what I'm doing, I'm going to bring a bit of contrast in. Just zoom down here to actually see what's going on. So I'm going to bring in a bit of contrast. It's going to make it pop. Bit of shadows. It's not at all trendy, is it? Cool. Click on creative. Got more things here you can play around with. Faded film. I'll do that. Crumbs. Sharpen. I generally wouldn't try and sharpen anything, even if it's like, if it's low res, don't. It'll just look nasty. If it's out of focus, don't try. Just go with it. Okay. It can just look a bit too artificial, especially if it's out of a camera phone. Anyway, they're already pre-sharpened a lot of the time, and that'll just start to look really digital, a bit cheap. If anything, softening them will help them look a bit more interesting and professional. Here you got color wheels. What this does, everything in the shadow, you get sort of a blue. So a very sort of common look. You'll notice this now once I mention it. In most, a lot of TV shows now, a lot of films, they generally go for sort of cooler blue tones in the shadows and slightly more orangey yellow tones in the highlights. So just look at this film. You notice there's a lot of blue and orange next time you're watching TV, especially if it looks quite cinematic, quite high production. It's blue and orange. You also have these things called looks. So if you just want to jump in and sort of see what the looks do, you can scroll through here and there's a few sort of film emulations and things like that. I'm going to just go for a film emulation. It's cheap and cheap. And you also go in, once you do that, as kind of a starter. So that's the Fuji Reeler. Let's go for that. Oh, crumbs. What's going on? It's just auto saving. Where is it gone? The computer's gone odd. I want this. Okay, that's done. Right, let's double click on that if you can't grab that one. Cool, I'm happy with that. It's a masterpiece. Cool, now all I want to do is add title. So I'm going to select everything. Crikey. I can zoom into my timeline a bit. I'm going to click and drag across a touch, not that much, so I'm going to turn snapping off. So the video start, title, boom. Title, boom, right. Zoom in, right, to add some titles. Choose the T. What's the T? I think if we click and drag and create a text window and automatically create this graphic layer, and that's your text. I think you can also add in other images and stuff like that. You can add images anywhere else into your timeline. It doesn't have to just be video in here. It can be images, it could be GIFs, pretty much anything you want. If you can import it, try it. So down here in my effect controls, I've got a text layer. Spin that down. First one, I need to write something. Let's call this sorry, my brain has gone blank. Basically, it's sort of about lockdown and your 1 hour of exercise a day. Sanctioned. Let's bring it to the middle. Minion Pro. Do not use the default font. Whatever your computer is using, whatever font that your computer decides, just don't. I'll know. Also, don't just. Basically, every font has its own personality, its own sort of feel. A lot of the time, that is instinctual. You'll know, and it's kind of, you either treat it really just sort of, if in doubt, just go for something very, I'm going to say Swiss because it's inspired by the Swiss movement of graphic design and typography, which was very regimented, very clean lines, geometric, sort of evolved around mid-20th century, and it's informed a lot of design, a lot of sort of functional utilitarian design since, and it always just feels quite nondescript. It means you can sort of see what's around it and it doesn't get in the way. I'm also a big fan of just bold, interesting typeface as well. What I don't like is just bland, nowhere. It's not trying to be utilitarian and sort of brutalist, which I love, and it's not trying to be just wrong, which I quite like as well. Obviously, I am not the I mean, it's just so nothing there, but that's kind of interesting. It's more interesting than going for a Minion Pro or even Arial. That's just my opinion. Do that. I'm going to bring that down a bit. I can do this with I can't. Let's just make that. Sectioned. That's not right. There we go. Sort of in the middle. If you're trying to find the sort of centre on this, the easiest way I found actually is over here. It's a safe margins thing. That gives you a good idea of where's a good place to put your text in between that border, and it also gives you these little more markers for the vigi, for the middle and the top. That'll do. Yeah, let's do that. And let's give it a colour. Yeah, you know. Right. Cool, I'm going to go rid of that. So, and also bring that in. And cut that. Snap. There we go. Undo that. Snap. Bring it a little bit. So it's black. There you go. Yeah, it went really low at the end because that was the actual slow motion bit of the video. What a noob. Okay, my work here is done. Oh, no it's not, because your work wouldn't be done if you didn't export. So Command and M, save it as well. I Should have saved this at the beginning and frequently throughout, otherwise... Oh, we gave it a name anyway. Oh, save it. You never know. Save it regularly. I haven't been. You should do. Otherwise it'll all crash. Generally though, these days, it was kind of self-saving, I think. So if it all crashed, it usually can recover it quite well, to be fair. Right, Command M or File, Export Media. Good lord, what's going on? Oh, need to make sure this is selected. Export Media. There we go. Get your export settings box. You can also export it through Media Encoder and other things as well. But okay, there's various things you want to export as. If you're exporting this as sort of really good, high quality, uncompressed, for whatever reason, probably for TV, you probably don't want to do these, but we're not. We're exporting the internet. H.264 is an internet codec for high definition video that is quite compressed, which means it's quite lightweight. It won't take ages to upload or download, but it's not very doesn't look really lossy and messy. So if you click that, it should be fine. If you want to see what it actually looks like, make sure that's there. Some of these other settings will just look a bit wrong, and the ratio will be wrong, and the size will be wrong. And H.264 is the format that YouTube likes, Facebook likes, Instagram likes. That's for the internet. Now that output it's an MP4, which is perfect. That's what you want. There are also options in this publish element for just going to Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, YouTube, etc. So you could just log into your accounts there, or to kind of just get the right settings for you, but effectively there'll be these settings just to check. So you want to just really see, does audio is clicked in your video, you probably don't want to touch anything here. Render maximum depth, to be honest, don't worry, it'll be fine as it is, unless you come into any problems. But this is kind of just letting you know what the bit rate will be. You can always increase that if you wanted to, but it should be fine. Literally, H.264. Give your video a name, otherwise, and make sure you know where it is. I mean, what the heck is that? I'm going to put it where my project is, of course. Right, in here, in there, some sample video. What did I call it? Sanctioned. Great. And then you press export. So hopefully that's been of some use and giving you a bit of an overview. Sorry it's a bit long-winded, nearly an hour long, damn it. But at least I've covered pretty much every aspect you should need to know to get a video in and out of Premiere, and those same elements or ideas, concepts should apply to other software. I'll put a list of software certainly in the Moodle, certainly in the Discord chat, and if I remember I will put it in the link below this video, which I will probably put on YouTube, and obviously link to your Moodle anyway. Thanks, and take care, stay safe, and good luck. Bye.